Another example is of Sony Pictures, which you should also know about. So Sony Pictures hack basically was a more like an informational leak. Sony Pictures hack exposed all the salaries of all the different actors they like they work with, and they all kind of exposed them, like the movies. They also, people also like got hold of movies which are not even released. They got copies of those movies. So basically, it is more like not exactly espionage in this case, but the intent was to expose, and there was loss of trust. There was loss of like sales. Movies got affected, which were part of this hack, and so the protection of sensitive information was not there to the point which a client would expect from Sony, and then the attackers could go in there and they could leak everything out. So there was like a big trust issue, big loss to the sales of some movies, so which is actually a big thing for the industry, right? So another thing with APTs is like physical damage, right? So this is really scary, I would say. So things like can you imagine like a virus, which is a software or a piece of code which can be able to cause some physical damage. That's not something. Physical damage and code, they don't kind of gel together, right? But hey, let me explain to you how a piece of code can do physical damage, right? So this is something like nuclear plants, right? So nuclear plants, these are hackers have gone in. They have gone in and stopped the nuclear plants. They can even go in and disable nuclear weapons. And these are like some really sensitive topics these days, and many organizations and many countries are trying to protect who are, of course, have access to nuclear technology, and it could be using for electricity or some other means, not just making bombs, any kind of nuclear technology. So they are like on the defensive, because if somebody gets hold of it, they can use it. They can sit in the other side of the globe. They can write a piece of sophisticated malware, and they can shut down the plant, And we have seen some examples in the past too. There were attacks on different countries on nuclear power plants, So now APTs, as you might start thinking right now, is the only related, I would say, thing which malicious guys right now are using. I mean, there can be a government behind it, not only just one person just trying to be a cool hacker, but it can be a government, it can be interest of things where they want to stop some other countries' nuclear plant production, something like that, right? So physical damage is very critical, is very scary, because it can be at a very large scale also. All right. Another thing which I want to get you familiar with is Stuxnet, which was designed specifically to target basically your centrifuges, which are used in the nuclear plant and in Iran, right? So what happened was they were targeting the Siemens industrial plant equipment, which was used in that nuclear fuel enrichment, and this kind of equipment basically is used in uranium enrichment facilities at the facility which was in Iran it was I think so called Natanz in Iran itself. So the US basically admitted in 2012 that it was responsible, and together with Israel they deployed Stuxnet there. And the key feature of Stuxnet is it was designed to deliver by email. So they delivered it through email, or it can also go through USB stick. And through a USB stick or through an email, it made it into their system, crippled their centrifuges, right, which are used for their nuclear powering, and basically I think there was a deal which was made between US and Iran based on that power which was displayed by US, and that was basically crippling their nuclear plant, So through all these implementations, electronic equipment, disablement, and so forth, all you can compromise a whole facility, right? So with the design, like as we know that Stuxnet, it can get the target system even if it's not even connected to the internet. And Stuxnet, how it basically works is when it was first released, it used 4 previously known or unknown vulnerabilities, which was only open up to Stuxnet for Windows computers, and it used it itself to propagate and deliver the payload to the SCADA system. So once the system, when it's connected to Stuxnet, it took advantage of the vulnerabilities, and basically in this case, the 4 vulnerabilities which I just mentioned in the Siemens system, it was the WinCC PCS7 SCADA control software, which actually allowed it to take control of the software and then basically repeatedly speed up and slow down the centrifuges. So that's what it was doing. It was a malfunction, right? Or it looked like a malfunction, but it was all planned. That okay, you speed up and you slow down the centrifuges, and which causes basically the aluminum tubes to expand and contract, eventually destroying 900 to 1000 centrifuges. So this was like the whole well-planned, well-thought, well-designed, highly sophisticated attack. It uses Stuxnet and it uses the Windows vulnerabilities for those computers. They knew that they are using Windows as operating system in that nuclear power plant, and that's how they could go in there and basically annihilate and compromise the full nuclear power plant. It could go worse depending upon how far they wanted to take it, right?